Today on the show, we have Jim Starwalt of Better Homes and Gardens Star Homes. Now, if you're not familiar with Jim, Jim is the broker owner of Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Star Homes with offices here in the Chicagoland area in Grays Lake and McHenry, Illinois. Jim has over 20 years of experience in the real estate industry as a top performing realtor and real estate team leader. Now, before working in real estate, Jim spent 15 years as a roofing contractor. Jim can provide superior level of real estate knowledge, service, and advice to not only his clients, but the brokers at his firm. Now, last year, this is really impressive. Jim's team sold over 150 units, which is amazing. Jim's passion and coaching, his passion is coaching and teaching agents, and we are absolutely thrilled to have him on the podcast today. Now, you can visit Jim at jimstarwaltteam.com, which will take you right over to the Better Homes and Gardens Star Home website, and you can learn all about what they offer. Jim, thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on here. And quick correction is Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Star Homes. So we don't.
Sorry,
yes. We're not. Hey, we're associated with the magazine, but we're not the magazine. So they are a sister company. So those wonderful franchise long tails that we have. So
isn't it? You know, it's so funny here in Illinois. So of course, not all of our listeners are realtors in Illinois, but they've made a lot of changes. The state has really finally created rules around teams and company names, and so now a lot of things have just gotten longer, I think. So, but
yeah, it's longer, and we have to spell it out, but it's not a bad thing, you know.
Right.
They've changed our signage, which I've always had the company. The company has to be prominent in all signage and all advertising, which is not bad. I mean, if you're not proud of where you are, you know, so many people are working under a brokerage, and they're trying to put the brokerage name in minuscule letters down at the very bottom, and their name. Like, you got to promote yourself, and your broker's going to be happy to want you to promote yourself and such. But boy, there's power in numbers. You know, the more signs out that look similar, people understand who you are better.
Yeah, so uniformity is for branding is just so important.
Branding,
and I also think, and I also think some of the rules now that are around teams and how companies promote themselves with advertising guidelines are really just to help the consumer know what's going on, because it can be so confusing to the consumer. So I think you're right. It's ultimately a good thing.
It is tough for consumers. It's tough for consumers to know, like, who do I contact if I have a problem. Everything's fine until it's not, is what I say all the time. So everything's good until it's not good, and then people need to know who to reach. So
we're actually redoing all of our signs as well right now, because many years ago, we just had a general 800 number, and every time a broker joined us, we'd give them a little extension, and then that way they wouldn't have to put a rider. Well, they'd still put a rider on, but they would put either their cell phone or their extension. And finally, this is like 10 years later, we're like, what are we doing? Putting an 800 number there that no one's calling, and also is just going to confuse, the consumer, trying to find that broker by typing in some extension they're not going to remember or notice. And so finally, we had to wise up and go, just put the broker's phone number on there. Don't put ours. And of course, so constantly trying to improve to make things better for the consumer as well.
But I want to talk about brokers should have their own phone. But yeah, okay, let's go. It's not easy for you to be quiet.
No,
advertise yourself. That's why you're spending your marketing dollars,
You're absolutely right. Yeah, and we don't want the calls either. The brokerage firm doesn't want those calls.
Yeah, we don't want that. We want to absolutely, who's ever marketing, we want it to go to you. You're paying your efforts, you're paying your money. We want it to absolutely go to you. So, okay, what are you trying to get out? I'll be quiet.
No. I think what you said is really important. And also for everyone listening, think about that. Think about all of your marketing materials. Is it easy for somebody to get in touch with you? And don't just assume that you always know. Send it out to 20 people that are in your sphere of influence and say, hey, I'm working on this marketing material. Is it really clear how to get in touch with me? Or is it confusing? Is it confusing who I work for? Is it, and it's really important to get some feedback. So Jim, no, that was awesome. But yeah, let's talk about you. And you've been in real estate for a long time. Tell us, how did you first get into real estate?
I've been doing it over 20 years, getting close to 25-ish. But my wife Susan was an agent before I was, and so when
Oh,
she started, so I was a roofing contractor, grew up in a contractor family. I've been running around roofs since I was 10. In fact, I remember I was about 10 or 11. I was on summertime, wasn't at school, so I'd go with Dad, and it was fun. I'd putting shingles on up on the roof, and I had
I get to climb roofs. Yeah.
somebody was
Yeah.
stopping, yelling at my dad, "You can't have that little kid up there. We're calling the police and the labor force." And he just gave him a nice wave, told them they're number one. No, but anyhow, no. So I was a roofing contractor, and then my wife Susan, she got into real estate, and I've always been fascinated with real estate. Like I had one of my buddies. I grew up with it. He's a broker now too. Jay Reed out there. I think he's with HomeSmart now. But every
Sure.
day after school, we played Monopoly. So it's like
Oh,
I
wow.
always beat him too. So Jay, if you're listening, sorry I beat you all the time. But yeah, we played Monopoly every single day. So it just kind of chuckles me. But anyhow, Susan got her license and she was working. Back then, you got your license and they sat down and they said, "Here's the phone book."
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Start
Seriously,
dialing.
here's the phone book. Look
Yeah.
in the office where I was in Mundelein, Illinois, and they said, go to Mundelein section, start at the A's. She
Oof.
started dialing.
Yeah.
Within a week, she had her first listing. She sold 38 homes her first year all by herself.
Wow. That's wait, hey, let's
I
just pause for a second. That is incredible for a number of reasons, even in today's market or any today's market. First of all, even if you had 38 friends ready to buy or sell homes that were close to you, that would be an amazing accomplishment. To fact that she cold called people out of the phone book and got listings and ended up closing that many. I mean, first of all, just doing that many deals in the first year puts you in the top 1% of all realtors in Chicago. So that is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, she's absolutely amazing. She's basically she does all the work around here, and I take all the credit as how it goes. So we were both working together. In fact, I remember the first listing appointment she sent me on. I could still visualize the house. I can picture the people. It was horrible. I could not wait to get out the door. We were doing that whole spreadsheet where like an appraisal, like your house is this, and you have the fireplace, and we'll add 5,000. In fact, back then we had a list that said a fireplace is worth $5,000. If you have a basement, opposed to not having a basement, it's $15,000. Very simple. It was, but I'm trying
Wow.
to read all this. I'm trying to talk to these people on my first appointment. And I'm trying not to swear. I made it really, really bad. It was horrible. I couldn't get out of there quick enough. And I remember the second appointment I went on. I was trained back then. It was hardcore. It was hardcore close. I mean, and I went out. I remember the house was in Ingleside. It was on the lake. It was some poor old lady, and I got in there and I closed on her and I got the signature. By the time I got home, I had a phone message waiting. She was in tears. Do I really have to sell my house?
Oh
Um,
no.
Last time I ever did that. Um, yeah, and it was just like, hey, sell high pressure tactics. Learned
Sure.
really, really quick. It's something that it's not about. That we learned really quick is that real estate is not about selling. It's about bonding, and it's not about you. It's not about your tools. It's about your client, and it's about their needs and what do they want. So everybody knows me knows I have a hard time listening, but they know that when I'm in front of a client, I do a lot more listening than I do talking. So let me find out how I can be of service to you, because that's all we have is service. So
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it isn't about the agent, it's about the consumer and getting their needs met and exceeding their expectations. So you're a trainer. You have realtors that you're coaching from your firm, of course. This is a huge passion of yours. Right now, everything's temporarily, hopefully, paused or not paused so much, as just changed. Everyone is stuck at home, most of the globe, and realtors are still trying to keep their business active. What are you suggesting, or what are you seeing agents doing that you think is a good idea during this sort of challenging time?
well, you're gonna have a hard time keeping me on track because I bounce all over. But I'm gonna go back to Susan selling. We'll come right back to this if you
Sure.
don't mind
Great.
taking control of your
No,
show. So Susan was selling lots of homes, and I'm up on the roofs. I got babies, at diapers there. They're 4 and 6 at the time, and I'm up on the roofs, and I got the bag phone, and it's on the chimney, and so I got my crew of 3, and hear the phone ring or the pager would go off. Shut off the compressors. Everybody should run up to the chimney. Hi, yeah, this is Jim. I was a Remax at the time. This is Jim at Remax, and how can I help you? What do you need? And we take down some notes. Great. I'm in a meeting right now. There's some people here with me. I never lie. There was people with me. How about if I call you back at about 3:30? Oh, that'd be great. Hang up the phone. Okay, back to work. you know. So, so she got me off the roofs. If you've ever had to go up on roofs because you got babies in diapers and it's 10 degrees out and you have to put
Oof.
cleats on and go on 2-story roof and shovel the snow and ice off. Back then we didn't have ropes. We didn't use ropes and safety stuff. You put the cleats on and like golf shoes and walked around and shoveled the roof off for free the first day so that the sun will melt it off so you can work the next day and make money.
Oh, wow.
Selling real estate's easy after that. So Susan got me into that. So anyhow, I had to give her lots of credit for working really hard and getting me out of that job. So anyhow, training and coaching, what should people be concentrating on, especially right now? Especially right now, the thing that you have to do is you have to time block. You have to have a calendar. Everybody listening, a lot of realtors, mostly realtors listening, probably lots of other people too, but go to your brokers. I know that they've all been coaching you and teaching you. They're all good. Listen to them. Now is the time to call them up and then say, hey, I remember 6 months ago you were talking about helping me with my calendar. You wanted to sit down, get on a Zoom conference, share your calendar, show them what's going on. I have a team of, we did about 160 if you include Wisconsin. I also have Wisconsin brokerage, virtual brokerage. So I did a majority of it. I think I did about, of that 150, personal, I was about 85 or 90
Wow.
listings was the
Congratulations.
side of that.
Amazing.
I don't work Sundays. I don't work Wednesday afternoons. Me and Susan go out on a boat, we go fishing. Because when somebody calls and they want to have an appointment with me, it took me years and years and years until I was coaching agents and teaching them how to do these things that it really hit home with me. Is that somebody calls, well, can you come over tonight at 7? No, I'm sorry, I can't. I am all booked up, but the old, can I make it at 1:30 or 2, 1:30 or 3:30? My appointments are 1:30, 3:30, and 5:30, and that's it. Of course, everybody says, and that's it. I've got one tonight at 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty tight on that. But I don't work Sundays. And people will fit their appointments within that. You have to know what you're going to do each day. So when an agent shows up in my office and I don't see them working, I see them drinking coffee, or I see them, they look a little bit lost, I say, hey, show me your calendar. You haven't been selling as many homes as you told me you wanted to. I can help you get to the success level you want to be at. You told me where you wanted to be, so show me your calendar and I can tell you if you're going to make that or not. So if you don't know what you're doing the rest of the day, if your calendar doesn't have what you're doing from 9 to 10, from 10 to 10:30, a break from 10:30 to 11, from 11 to 12, then you should go home. If you don't know what you're doing today, I want you to spend the next hour deciding what you're going to do the next 3 days and put it on your calendar and go have the rest of the day off. Go do a video, go do something. Because there's no sense sitting in here pretending you're playing real estate. Agents come into the office and they have coffee and they go on broker's tour, or they decide, well, maybe I'll work on something, so I'll get on Facebook. Hey, I spent 8 hours doing a nice, really cool post for Facebook, and I sent it out. I'm proud of myself. I did real estate today.
Right.
So anyhow, I get kind of passionate about this because I hate seeing realtors not being successful. It's such a lucrative business and it's so rewarding helping people. But you have to have a calendar and you have to have a schedule. You should know right now, every hour of the day, what you're doing tomorrow. Correct?
Correct. I couldn't agree with you more. I struggle with that myself. I'm not a practicing realtor, but just in my own day-to-day business as a more creative type, which I think real estate agents fall into that same category. Structure can be difficult for a lot of real estate professionals, and especially if they're working on their own and are a solo sort of practitioner. But now, as Jim said, now is the time to lean on your firm. And while you're stuck at home, if you don't have those structures in place or you need help establishing those, what a great opportunity to reach out to your managing broker and say, hey, remember that training that you promised me? I'd like to cash in a little bit on that. Can you help me schedule my day? I couldn't agree with you more. That's so, you have to know your start date and your start time and your end time and everything you're going to do in between. So I think it's such simple advice, but it's incredibly powerful. And I would bet most of us, no matter what profession we're at, really don't do that. So
No.
now is the opportunity to develop those habits.
Well, and many realtors are female or male who are watching the kids at home, who are at home.
Right.
It's even more important to have that calendar and that schedule. Put it up. I mean, people laugh in our office when I talk and I train because I show them a picture of my bedroom. Me and Susan, we get up and there's a great big calendar on our wall. And we know what we're doing throughout the whole year. We know when our vacations are. We know when different seminars we're teaching. We know what's going on. We live this stuff. So you've got kids at home. They need to know that from 8 to 9 is study time or book reading time, and I'm going to be doing this. And then we're going to stop at 8:45 to 9, and I'm going to help you if you're struggling. So it couldn't be more beneficial to teach them how to follow a schedule also, and to get yourself in the habit of doing that. Because when this breaks loose, you better have a calendar because it's going to be wild.
Yeah, I think it is. I think you're right. And the structure thing, I think we could do hours and hours on creating a calendar and sticking to it and why that's so important. And it's sort of, in some ways, can be a bit counterintuitive because you think, well, now I'm locked into this rigid structure. The reality of it is, by being in a rigid, a somewhat semi-rigid structure, you actually will get a lot more freedom, ironically, because you'll be just accomplishing more and you'll find that you're more efficient and effective. So thank you. That's such
You
great advice.
you want to hear a great big gasp of everybody go, don't check
Of
your emails
course.
till don't check your emails till 10 a.m. Don't even look at it. Just don't. There's nothing there that you have to handle at 8 a.m. You got a client who's upset, you got a client who's pissed off, you got a client who's just anxious and wants to know how come the appraisal hasn't been done yet. It's still not going to be done by 10, or more than likely it's already been scheduled. You say, no,
Yeah.
no, it's happening tomorrow at 3. So don't check your emails until at least 10 o'clock in the morning. So don't go down that
Yeah.
rabbit hole.
No, it's a good rabbit hole because I'm sorry, it's not a good rabbit hole to go down, but it's a good thing
Sure.
to acknowledge that it's the rabbit hole that I walk. I come into my office. I get here at 8:30 or so, and then I immediately go to my email because that's what pops up, and it's easy for me just to make that the first thing, and then I could tackle those 15 emails that I got over the previous night. But then the problem is, I'm like, oh wait, what am I supposed to do next? And so I think a lot of us can relate to that. It's like same thing with, like, as soon as you wake up, don't put on social media either, because you'll get lost in that rabbit hole. And then also, I couldn't agree more with Jim. Have certain times that you respond to email, and you can also have times that you don't. Like, that's okay too. Know your structure, know your customer service policy for you and for your clients, and make sure they know the expectations. But you could if you spent the first hour, like Jim said, plan your next 3 days and take the rest of the day off. You just did a massive thing. That's absolutely right. Like, spend the first hour of the day planning, or ideally the night before. But if you should do that first, so that when I wake up, oh, I don't check my social media until X time. Otherwise, you just get caught up like the rest of us. We're all human. We get caught up in things, and then we lose a lot of the day.
My calendar's filled. Every spot for the next 10 years at 1:30, 3:30, and 5:30, it says client appointments. So all
Yeah.
I have to do is go in and change that one. So it's just the structure, and the having it not check your emails first thing in the morning is, first of all, you're also training your clients that I'm here for you, but I'm not on demand. And that starts right off the bat. They have to understand that I have a life too. When they send you a text, I have to, like, take my agents, take their phone away. I'm like, what are you doing? You're going back and forth 6 times on text with this person. Answer
Right.
once, say you've got some people with you, you'll get back to them in an hour. They're okay. I understand that this is our clients, this is their whole life is that deal. It's very important. eat, sleep, breathe real estate for 30 days of their life.
Right.
And so they're in it. So they know what's going on. You also know what's going on too, but your whole life can't be their deal with them. You need to let them know that I will answer your questions. I'm taking care of it. But when you text me or you send me an email at 9 o'clock at night, I am not answering that phone. That problem will still be there in the morning. So how many of us have, I've done that for years. You grab that phone call at 9 o'clock and now you're thinking about it all night long and you don't get a good night's sleep and you can't function the next night because somebody's mad because the appraisal came in low. The appraisal's still low tomorrow. We can handle it at 10 o'clock when I check my email, you know?
Yeah, again, I couldn't agree more. I want to go back to the texting thing because I was thinking about this while you were really saying this in a way that I hadn't thought about before, which is to say that, you know, people who text, the person texting wanting the question, the customer to the agent, is expecting an immediate response if that's their expectation. And so, as Jim was saying, you know, this is something you could talk to the client ahead of time, and you should tell them how your communication policy works. So say, hey, just FYI, I try to respond to text quickly, but it might take me up to a certain amount of whatever time is applicable to you to return that call or return that text. Because if you reply instantly, and then they go back, like you were saying, like 5 or 6 times, and then all of a sudden you get a client phone call, or somebody walks into the office, or you just have an appointment to get to, or whatever, and you can't continue that back and forth. It's a strange stop in the middle of a conversation to be like, oh my gosh, so sorry, client just walked in. So I think having that policy up front, like, hey, when I get a text, if I can respond to it right away, I do. If not, please allow me some time. And I think, because I was thinking about that, if I was texting back and forth, all of a sudden the person disappeared, you know, that might be worse in a way.
Yeah, that's a great point. Is that once you're in it, then you stop. It's like how do you stop? You send the thumbs up emoji, and then they send an okay, and then you say, okay, are we done? You know. So I like that concept of it too. That they're going to be disappointed in you. This business it's almost less about disappointing the people you're working with, not disappointing the people you're working with, setting the
Yeah.
right expectations.
Yeah.
So again, I go all the way back to, it is not about you. I don't care if it's your first day of real estate or you've sold 10,000 homes. When you go in that, it is not about you or how many homes you've sold or have not sold. When you go in, I'm going to listing appointments just a little bit. You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. When you the very first thing I teach agents is personality profiling. Disc personality.
Yeah.
You need to know who you're talking with. I am a D, so I'm a D and I. So I'm very forward, and I love to have fun. We have lots of parties and barbecues, and anything's a reason to get some chips and nachos out, and let's get the margaritas out. So
Yeah.
there's a bar right in my office, so we have a lot of fun. But it's taken me until I start teaching and coaching for the last bunch of years to understand that my personality is only 10% of the population of the earth. So that means my style has the potential to piss off the other 90%. So people will laugh because I've done it so long when I start talking to somebody, and my voice will automatically go a little bit soothing, and I'll lean in. It's not disingenuine. It's I've trained myself that I need to pay attention to them.
Sure.
You know, the old match what they're doing, and I do it not even conscious because it's my work personality is different than my normal personality because I've learned to temper it. So when you call me and you say, "Hey Jim, come and talk to me about my house," I'm thinking about selling it. The very first question I ask is, "Tell me about your house."
Yeah.
You tell me that it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,600 square feet, and it's in a neighborhood, and here's a couple facts. Well, I know that this appointment's going to be about facts and figures. If you're telling me, oh, I just love watching the grandkids play in the family room, we've gathered there for years, and we have our Thanksgivings, and it's such a warm place, I know that that's the nightmare appointment for me because I'm going to have to spend 2 hours in there listening.
Yeah.
I do care. I love people, but my personality is, you have a problem, I'll solve it, let's go.
Right. Yeah.
So when grandma's telling me about, we're walking through the house, I'm looking, I'm seeing the pictures of the grandkids, and I'm seeing them on a swing. I'm seeing if they're in the backyard. I'm going to ask about those things. I will get that appointment without ever showing her a number. I will not open a listing book for either of them. So I'm going to talk to their personality, the person that wants facts. I'm going to look in the eye and I'm going to say, here's the deal. We both know what your house is worth. I know you've looked online, right? You've looked at Zillow, you've looked, et
Sure.
cetera. And so I've, of course, I know what that is. And I've already got it written down. So I have some numbers. So what are you thinking this is? Well, I understand you brought me here to, that's my job. Well, I've already got it in here and I'll show you, but I got to make sure we're on the same page. Oh,
Yeah. Wow.
I think it's like 250. Okay, great. Look, that's exactly what I had. So you've already looked me up. You already know anything about me. What do you say we just sign the paperwork and I can get to work? That's my listing presentation. If you want to know my golden nugget, there it is.
That's a huge golden nugget. So let's break down what you just did a little bit, because I think this is really, really important. First, you didn't try to sell, right? Which I think most people, a small percentage of people, like to be sold to. I think most people don't. They want to be understood. They want to feel like you care. And you're doing that. Even though you say, hey, necessarily, I'm the guy that just wants to get it done, get to the point, put me to work. I'm your worker. But you're able to still communicate in the language that the client needs, which isn't, as you were saying, of course, that's not disingenuous. In fact, in some ways, it's even, you could even say it's more complimentary, because you're like, I'm going to communicate with you in the style that you prefer, versus what's necessarily natural to me, which in your case, you're like, only 10% of the population has that
Right.
disc profile. So I think that's really, really smart. But yeah, I love that you're like, I have, you probably have a listing presentation in case you need it, but you clearly are able to connect in a way that doesn't require that. I think that's amazing.
So I had an agent, and this agent was in tears. I've been on 9 listing appointments and I have not got any of them. Look at my materials.
Oh,
They're absolutely gorgeous.
yeah.
I've got this book that'll knock your socks off. I wish I could do that kind of marketing. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy moly, this is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I told this agent, I said, the next thing you have to do, the next listing appointment you go on, there's always a wall or some or a table or something by the door. You need to set all this wonderful listing book that you have. You need to set it on that, and I don't want you to even touch that again until they agree to list with you.
I
This
love
agent
it.
got the next 4 in a row.
I love it because that enabled her to do the most important thing, which is connect with the client and listen.
Yeah, yeah.
So smart.
If you're a good agent, your broker's already told you, you've got the materials, you've got the pre-list packets. Listen to what they're saying. Send that pre-list packet over. You know that they've already looked at it because you can see they opened up the email and you can see they've looked at. We use Toolkit CMA because you can see when they've opened it up, and I know
Right.
that they viewed it. I don't need to talk about it. So it's not about me. It's not about my tools. They think all realtors are the same and have the same tools and are all the same. I'm the only one that listened to them. I got a quick story. I had listed a house from a complete stranger in 7 minutes.
I love this.
I know exactly the time. I'm pulling up to the driveway and he's got a big oversized Jeep and it's muddy.
Okay.
I know this is an adrenaline guy. I
Yeah.
know he doesn't care that much about details because it's still muddy.
Right.
I look, there's a dirt bike stuffed in the corner of the garage, leaning against the garage, a couple skateboards, etc. Beautiful house, and great person. I walk in the door and I say, so how we doing? So can you show me around the house? And I see his eyes go down a little bit, and I said, look, I can tell you're not in the mood for any type of sales pitch. I'm like, we both know your house over 250,000. What do you say we do the paperwork and I can get out of here and start my marketing? That's the whole conversation I had with him. He goes, I love you. Let's sign that papers. He did not read a piece of paper. I need to explain the paper, but is there? He had it all. I said, okay, sign here, sign here, sign here. Let's put the price on. I'll send this to you. And I was out the door, I was back in my car in 7 minutes
That's amazing. But you're
because
absolutely
it
right.
wasn't about me.
It wasn't about you, and also you were able to use intuition and logic to make some assumptions about how this person communicates, what they want, and then of course how to give it to them. I think that is amazing. How would you recommend agents start to develop that skill? Obviously listening is one thing, but being able to sort of discern, oh, this type of client, this probably is their communication style or their personality.
You need to take a class on DISC personality profiling,
Yeah.
and I like the DISC. I like that because it's very
Yeah.
simple. I have one that we teach. It's put on by Dave Ramsey with Chris Hogan is the one that does it, and it's phenomenal. It's funny. It's made my marriage amazing. Susan laughs because now I realize that she's not just crazy. That she when I come in with a great idea now, I'm like, hey, we got to do this. And she's like, that sounds wonderful. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Because she knows by tomorrow we have another idea.
Yeah.
So if I still want to talk about it tomorrow, we'll talk about it. But I used to, she'd make a face and she'd go like this. And I'd be like, what's the matter with my idea? And I'd be offended that she didn't jump all over my idea and share my excitement. So now I know that I need to present an idea, let her think about it, and then we'll talk about it in a couple hours. Now she's got it down to about 10 minutes. So I give her a whole 10 minutes to digest something. So, but it's, I think everybody who's getting married should take the DISC personality profile. And I think everybody in real estate needs to understand who they are, because understanding who I am first helps me relate more to other people, know that I need to slow down a little bit. So, different personalities are funny. So my agent Randy, he used to be a newspaper publisher. He was the editor. He was the top dog. So he's very good at asking questions. So we'll do call hours at our office. Like, okay, who's afraid of using the phone? Let's go. We'll put it on speakerphone. We'll start cold calling Zillow for sale by owners. And Randy, he'll be on the phone for a half hour with somebody that's trying to hang up on him, and he'll get the appointment. In the same amount of time, I'll go through 25 calls and I'll get an appointment.
Right.
So again, I pissed off 24 people and made one happy. So we have to understand who we are.
Yeah, and this is, it's funny. So what I do during the day is I try to recruit realtors to work at our firm, and I've been doing it for 10 years. And it's I probably have a natural ability, or just through the experience I've had, to sort of know how to do that. But have I formally really been trained in something like DISC or a different personality profile? It's like, no, not really. And you just gave me a great idea, because I'm sure I haven't always communicated in the way that the person who may be interested in joining our firm needs to hear. I just kind of do it the same way oftentimes. So thank you, because that's going to help me as well.
They might not need training from you. So we try to tailor our training, because that's who your personality is.
Yeah.
You don't need to change it, but you just need to understand who you're talking to, and you need to understand what you are. So makes a big difference. So yeah, every like I said, I had the agent that didn't close on anything, but was amazing at putting together these listing books, and mine's in a 3-ring binder, and it's pretty nice. We all have the stuff from our brokers. That's what I use, the stuff given us from corporate, and I have 3-hole punch it and snap it in there, and I got my CMA in the back, but I don't open it. I never open it. I don't need to open it. It's not
Right.
about that. You need to understand that.
It's not about that. I love that. And I think that's such an important point. Now, so now that we're all, we're at home, what are you telling agents to do just to stay active? Any suggestions on reaching out?
I challenge them to get on Zoom. I challenge them to start out having one Zoom consultation a day. I can get you on, and I can pull up the multiple listing service, and I say, hey, DJ, let's just check out the values of your house just for fun. People are bored, they're happy, they're thrilled to have something to occupy their time for a little bit. Let's look at the homes in the neighborhood. Cool, did you know you've got about $70,000 equity in your house? That's awesome, good job. Hey, if you know anybody else that wants a equity check, have them give me a call. Do you know people that are worried about their jobs? Do they need to start a home equity line of credit to get themselves through a couple months? All you realtors out there, you should apply for a home equity line of credit. You may not need it. It's not going to cost you a dime if you don't use it. Keep your marketing going strong. So they should be educating themselves. They should be listening to podcasts. They should be watching there's all kinds of free videos everywhere. I pay Tom Ferry gobs of money every single month, but I really don't have to because everything's on YouTube. Everything they teach is right there. So educate yourself, but set a schedule. You're not out of works. Don't think you're not working. Here's the difference right now. Buyers right now are looking at 2 or 3 homes and buying one. They do not want to look at 20 homes. So get them before you have from now. Your business changes from here on out forever. You're never going to meet a client that you haven't met on a Zoom conference call first. You've seen each other face to face and you've got it recorded. And you say, hey, just so you know, I'm recording this so we can remember what we said. There's a lot less chance that somebody's going to do you harm when they know you've got their image and who they are recorded.
Wow. That's really a smart observation. And you're absolutely right. I'm really glad you said that. Smart.
Right.
Yeah.
So before we go out, let's take a look and let's look at all the homes. You've got 10 homes you're interested in. So let's zoom in on this one here, 123 Main Street. This one backs up to the train tracks. Is that bothersome for you? Personally, I would like that because it's no houses in the background, but there's no fences in this whole neighborhood. You said you had to have a fence. Do you still want to go look at this house? No, Jim, I think we can eliminate that one. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Let's zoom. You know how to zoom in. You click on the address and look at the backyard, look at the whole rest of the neighborhood. If we really want to put an in-ground swimming pool, well, good. 10 out of 20 homes have that. There's a real good chance you can put one here. So let's eliminate homes down to 2 or 3. And then, we've taken 52,000 homes and eliminated it down to 3. So I'm going to bring a contract, and we don't want to waste too much time. Homes are going fast. So let's go out Saturday and buy a house. What do you say? I mean, we're never going to do business the same again if you learn these tools now.
Yeah.
Sorry, I get passionate.
This has been, I'm at a bit of a loss only because I'm processing what you just said, because you're communicating it in a way that none of our previous guests have. So I'm really, really grateful for that. But you're absolutely right. So much has changed. We had an agent in our firm, he does mostly leasing. And he said he's done 5 deals in the last 2 weeks, or maybe it was 4 or 5 deals, all virtual tours other than that sight unseen. And he just, did it that way. And he's like, you know what? He goes, nothing's really changed. I mean, it's changed as far as what he's doing. But he says the activity is not really, I mean, of course, home buying activity has changed a bit, but he's leasing, he says, it's still going really, really strong. So just
buyers are out there. If you can get the sellers to commit, oh my goodness, social media advertising is blowing up. The last ad I put out, we've got a tool from corporate that we can do social engine ads, and they go out to Facebook and Instagram. $149. My phone just didn't quit because it goes for 7 days. We had 16,000 views. We had 1,800 people engaged in the ad, meaning they clicked on the pictures and looked around. We had 179 people fill out the lead form. So my 6 buyers agents we're nonstop. So we're calling all 179 and staying after them, and who wants to get out and what are we doing? So social media is where you should be advertising right now. Everybody's at home looking for a distraction.
Yeah, so, go to where the customer is, right? And
go to where the customer is. I guarantee any of the large brokerages, again, you've got some of the same ad tools and stuff. Talk to your managing broker, have them show you through them. Show me how it works. Let's do this. So they should be knowing how. So if not, they'd be happy to dig in and find out because they should. So
yeah, it's such an interesting time, and this is the time also for the sphere of influence to really be staying in touch, because like Jim's saying, people are online, they're still searching, and in fact they might even be feeling a bit claustrophobic in their current conditions and maybe wanting to expand. I think there's a lot of people are going to be feeling that way, if not right now, in the immediate future, and when this returns to normal. What a great way to make sure they know you're there and you can start having those conversations now.
No, absolutely. And right now in Illinois, they're calling us essential. They're letting us work. And it's good because we are, not because we get to sell somebody's house. But when you boil it down, and I teach this and I coach this. You have to understand, we are the pinnacle. We're up here because when we sell a house, the lenders get to work, the title companies get to work, the home inspectors get to work, the painters are going to come in, the moving companies. What is there, 25, 30 different companies that get work just off of one sale? Not
Right.
to mention then when the people move in, if they get a fence, whatever goes on. So we are essential. And you out there need to understand that. We've got a big responsibility to keep the economy going. Remember when the economy fell out in '08? Anybody was still working then? I was. Um, my business supercharged because I worked 14-hour days, 7 days a week, just like I'm doing now. And we let our staff all go, and me and Susan are doing everything in the whole office plus selling houses. So we're paying our staff and we're making sure that they're taking care of their families. But you need to work harder than ever. This is not a vacation. Um, it's a wonderful opportunity. So I made a little, I don't know, what do they call that when you take a word and you make words off it?
Yeah.
COVID-19, create opportunities via internet devices. Contact 19 people a week on Zoom.
I love it. Say that once more.
Create opportunities via internet devices. Contact 19 people a week on Zoom. Clients, past clients, consumer. I don't care if you're not used to doing it. Call your mom on Zoom 3 times a week until you're used to doing it. Get on it and do it. I hate seeing myself when I see it. I can see from the back and I see my hair's disappearing, and I'm like, man, but I guess that's who I am. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and what you're doing is two things. It's connection and it's providing probably a little comfort, but also some opportunity. This is a time to have those conversations, and your clients. Yeah, nobody's comfortable. I think doing this, especially with previous clients, especially if it's a video. There's an intimacy to it that can be challenging. But the client is probably thrilled that you're reaching out to connect and to provide value. I mean, I think about all the professionals I have in my life. How many of them who I pay service fees to, how many of them reached out to me since this all started just to check in or to provide some value? Maybe one of 15, So it's not a crowded space. Doing this will actually, I think, will really impress the people who you've already worked with or your people who haven't yet worked with you.
So let's go back to time blocking. It doesn't. I'm going to keep hammering that because that's
Yeah.
everything. There is no golden nugget in real estate. There's five basic, and I've got it pulled up over here. You can't see it, but you've got open houses, you've got your sphere of influence, you got your farm, you got your social media, and you got your CRM, and
Yeah.
they all intersect in the middle. It's like a wheel, and I call it my wheel of fortune. They all intersect. So when you're talking your sphere of influence, you may put something on your social media. Some of your sphere of influence is your farm. If you're going to time block, maybe from 9 to 9:30 every single day until you're let back out in the world, you study your farm. You should know how many 3-bedroom homes are in there, how many 4-bedroom homes. Real estate is hyper local.
Yeah.
Don't be the Lake County real estate professional. Don't be the town. Be the subdivision. Many years ago, I was College Trail subdivision in Grays Lake, and that's all I marketed. There's 400 homes in there. If there's 400 homes in there and everybody moves every 2 years, or every 10 years, how many homes is that a year that change hands? That's 40. If
Yeah.
I can get half of those, that's 20 right there just off my farm.
Wow. Just by being the Grays Lake guy.
And when I have those 20 listings in there, not the Grays Lake guy, the
Or
College
sorry,
Trail guy.
sorry, Fox. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Now I'm Grays Lake guy because
Grays Lake is yeah. That's Grays Lake is a big area. Yeah.
I started out with one subdivision. For 5 years, that's all I marketed because other than that, I marketed to my sphere. When I sold those homes in College Trail subdivision, I did such a good job that they would all refer me to somebody. So those 20 turned into 40. That that's how real estate works. Don't be everything. Be hyper local and hyper focused.
It's so important, and it's something that, like, know your true north, right? Know the you want to be this. It's like you want to be the the biggest fish in the smallest pond, right? So in order to do that, you have to hyper focus and specialize. And even if it's just a certain number of homes or a certain number of miles that you really cover, you want to know it better than every other broker in town. And by doing that, you just create massive value to that community.
Until everybody in that circumference knows who you are, you don't need to expand out. So you've got to do videos. You've got to show what's there. You go into InfoSparks and pull up the stats. You can show those stats. You can pull them up live on Zoom via Facebook. I mean, these tools are amazing. I did a stupid video. You can see I just put shelves up in my office.
Yeah.
So I thought, hey, I've got this really cool tip. So I did a DIY tip. Got nothing to do with real estate. You take an envelope and you tape it right underneath where you're going to drill, and you open up so when you drill, the dust falls right into there.
Oh, that's brilliant. I would have never. Yeah.
Well over 400 views and 1 billion comments and such, and tons of shares. But you got to use this video stuff.
Yeah, now's the time, if you're camera shy, now's the time to practice so that you can feel more comfortable having these conversations. Because as Jim's saying, this is the new normal. This is not going away once necessarily we return to some version of normalcy. This is going to be the constant. So better get used to it. And what a great opportunity now to practice.
So I got a quiz for you. Do you know how many homes in Lake County have 1 bathroom?
I don't, but I bet you do.
They all do. Some have more.
Yeah. Oh, good. You know what? I fell right into that I wasn't paying attention. Thank you. Yes.
Whatever. When you teach, you have to have your corny jokes in there, right? So.
I think pretty much all of my jokes are corny, so I can appreciate that. Well, Jim, I would love to actually pause for this episode, because I would love to bring you back and have you, with the tips you've been providing today has been a lot. Sure. And really, really helpful. And I'd like to get you on a regular schedule if you're that available, so we can talk about that after. But I also want to let everyone know who's listening, if you're a broker in the Chicagoland area and are interested in working with a firm like Better Homes and Gardens, Star Homes, Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, Star Homes. Yeah. That is a mouthful, but it is a great company and a great brand. What's the best way and by the way, not just agents, but maybe a customer who's looking to work, sure, working for a new realtor and looking for somebody from your team to work with? What's the best way?
You know what? My cell phone is everywhere in the world, but it's 224-627-7581. You can go to Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. You just do a search. You can find us. You can give me a call. You can send me an email. My cell phone's been advertised on the internet for over 20 years, so people are like, I'm not putting my phone on anything. But call me. We're always looking for talent. We're very, very careful. You have to be somebody who's willing to share in our office. Our office is open hoteling concept, and we encourage everyone to share. As I tell the office you're in, don't be afraid to talk to the other people in your office. The office I was in had windows, and everybody had paper taped over their windows. I said I would never be that office. You don't have any secrets. If our office has an 8% market share, that means there's 92% market share out there for us to get. So yeah, we are a very collaborative office. We're always looking for great talent. So if you'd like to come in and see if we're a fit together, yeah, give me a call.
And if you want to work with a realtor who doesn't make it all about them, which I think it's a simple concept, but an important one, and one that has served Jim and his team very, very well for over 20 years. Definitely reach out to him as well. He's got lots of capable brokers. He himself, of course, is an extraordinarily capable broker, as one of the top producers here in Chicago. So Jim, I want to thank you on behalf of the listeners for your time, and I really would love to bring you back to do this more regularly, so we can talk about that. But on behalf of the listeners, thank you for all the great tips and advice. On behalf of Jim and I, to the listeners, we of course say thank you for continuing to support and listen to our show. We ask just two quick things before we go. One is to please think of another real estate professional that could benefit from having listened to this interview that we just had with Jim, and send it over to them. You can send them right to our website, which is keepingitrealpod.com, or just, have them pull up any podcast app and search, they'll find it. The second thing is to please follow us on Facebook. You can find us at facebook.com/ facebook.com/keeping it real pod. We obviously broadcast all of our video recordings of our episodes as well as our audio recordings. And also every day we post an article that we find written online specifically designed to help realtors grow their business. Usually just one a day, not to clog up your feed, but something that we think you'd appreciate. So again, facebook.com/keeping it real pod. Other than that, we will see everyone on the next episode. Thank you. Hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. Jim, this was wonderful. Really had a great time. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
I had fun. Thanks for having me on. I'm always love to give. It's my passion. So talk to you soon. I'd love to come back on.